When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And that is a quote by Maya Angelou and my guest, Jamar Jones. That's one of his favorite quotes. And boy, that's something I wish I'd have learned a long time ago. My dating life might have been better. So, welcome again to The Profitable Photographer, or for the first time. And I don't really have much to say other than check out lucydumascoaching.com if you want to see my photography site. It's just lucydumas.com, Lucy with an I. And my guest today, I discovered Jamar because I asked a friend who had been to Imaging USA in Nashville in January this year, 2026, who the best speaker was. And he said, Jamar Jones, Jamar Jones. So I was like, boom, going right there asking Jamar. And he said, sure. So thank you, Jamar.
Oh, thank you. I mean, the invite is awesome because it just able to expand the voice, the message, and just reach more people. So thank you for the invite.
You're welcome. So let's see. Jamar is the visionary force behind Foureva Media, and that organization transforms businesses through the influential power of branding and business advisory. He has had clients such as Marcus Lemonis, Vanier X, Red Bull, and many, many others. He has secured over 350K in sponsorship through his podcast and events. He's a seasoned entrepreneur, podcast host, and he's got a book called Change Your Circle, Change Your Life. So, yeah, why wouldn't we listen to this guy? So, just a little about your background because I know you did photography as a business before you began to mentor and write books and speak and all that good stuff. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's I kind of fell into it. So I was a former hip hop artist for 11 years of my life. So performed all over, opened up for T.I., Snoop Dogg, Keisha Cole, Common, Bone Thugs and Harmony, just a ton of really big acts, and I was doing about 100 shows a year.
Whoa.
And then also I was working in IT. That's also the funny story about it. And so unfortunately I tore my vocal cords while performing at the
Wow.
University of Minnesota. And so that kind of changed my whole trajectory of what I wanted to do in my life. And so I went into IT and then I got laid off. So it was like 45 people lost their jobs. And then I started my business with Foureva Media, and I basically launched it where anything I was kind of good at. Is I had like 20 different services, anything from artist consulting to beat production, and two of the services were photography and videography. And where I learned that stuff though was from music, right? So I had a team of people, I had a DJ, an MC, and sound and lights guy, and but we always wanted to record video. So I learned a lot of video editing and photography just by doing music. So once I launched my business, I was like, hey, it's a natural progression for me to get into this. And then I just started to learn, just like became a bookworm of just the fundamentals of photography, videography. And then I started to get some clients. My first client was it was a school and this was a video client that I had. So it was like a school play almost, like a recital.
Hmm.
And I had my little handy cam and I went out there and set up the tripod. And I mean, I look back now and it was terrible. I mean, it's absolutely terrible. I don't know what I captured. But but that was like my first gig. I paid $300 and I felt like a champ, for doing that. And then I just started getting some photography clients, doing more of like, it was nightclub stuff and it was weddings, of course. Weddings is always it's a natural progression for any creative that is
Yeah.
doing photography or videography. So that's how I got started, just in this space. And I'm a bookworm, so I just kept learning and learning and learning, meeting others that were very good in this space and just learning from them.
Awesome. So, um, I did go to YouTube and hear some of your music, and um, I took improv rap a couple times, so
Nice.
I can do a little bit of a beat and try to think of that next thing. But yeah, I'm not getting on any stages anytime soon.
You sure? Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I did like musical improv because it gives
Yeah.
you a little time to think, whereas with rap, it's got to go fast.
Yeah.
But with musical, you can kind of stretch out. We're like, what the heck am I going to say next? So,
Yeah.
yeah. But things like that, I think if I hadn't taken improv, I wouldn't be as comfortable in this position. So, what I love about your story is how one thing led to the next, the next, the next. I assume you kept learning from experience. I also love that you took advantage of books and other training.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
tip for
Improv is
people.
so important. Like
Yeah,
I feel like every human being should take some level of improv something in
yeah,
their life because it will help you tremendously, especially when you got to think on your feet or just adapt
right.
to your surroundings. Like it's just so good. I just wanted to mention that quick.
Yes. And the key thing I think I use in this format, and since you have a podcast, you probably do too, is you learn to listen, the yes and, rather than like, okay, what am I going to, like not pay attention to Jamar and what you're saying, just like spit out the next question that I have. Like, oh, okay,
Right.
cool. So now what do you wish you'd known 10 years ago? Boom, things like that. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, of course. Listening is just it's so critical. And also it helps with just building rapport, quicker and then just going through the motions. That's what most people do. They're
Right.
just mindlessly going through the motions of
Yeah.
life and then they don't snap and realize like, "Oh, I'm not present ever."
Right. Right. And listening for that gap so you can jump in and speak. And I
Yep.
think as photographers, especially of people, what you just said, being present
Yeah.
is the most important thing we can do when we're
Yeah.
working. Okay, so on with the next question. um, so the title of your presentation at imaging was understanding your client's expectations and bridging the gap. But also, you have a book called Change Your Circle, Change Your Life. So, did those intersect? Was that topic similar to your book?
I don't think that was my talk of my the title of my talk.
Okay. Your
So
brand and
bridging the gap,
business, your circle
that was
determines your success. Okay. I copied something from the
it's all
PPA
it's
website.
all
So,
it's
never
all good. The
mind.
Bridging the Gap was like their section of they
Oh,
had a bunch of speakers that were under the Bridging the Gap. Um, and so my talk was change your circle, change your life, and then how
got it.
to market and brand your business to be able to get real results, basically,
Okay.
and like how to actually grow that. So it intertwines, it connects. So actually, I'll show it since this is video. So this is my book.
Yeah, that's a
Change your
beautiful
circle, change
cover.
your life. So
Is that an eclipse?
that is yeah, it's like a solar eclipse.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like kind
love
of
it.
like everything perfectly meeting at the right moment. And that's kind of what I believe is that uh the whole philosophy is how to unlock your self-awareness. So I'm glad we were talking about presence because most people are not self-aware of anything. So unlocking your self-awareness, and then how do you evaluate your current circle, and then how do you get into new ones? And I've learned that if you can change your circle, you really can change your life. Like a person meeting the right person can change the whole trajectory of where you're going to go, not just by opportunities, but by also by the knowledge that's gained from those individuals and lessons learned, either good or bad, right?
Hmm.
That will lead you in the right direction. So at imaging, I really wanted to talk about that concept with everybody, but also how to market yourself as an individual, especially for a lot of photographers, videographers, creatives. We're really good at our craft, but we're terrible at telling people about it.
Right.
Like, we're not good at it. So
Right.
we we gotta we gotta get out of that stuff in our head about, competition and this and that. Like you got to be able to market yourself if you're going to grow your business.
Right.
And so that's, and I think it really landed. The room was full that day. I mean, I think it was like a little bit over 400 people were in
Probably
there.
standing
So
room only.
yeah, it was great.
Makes me so happy to know that people are still showing up, wanting to learn, wanting to be successful. I was telling you that some longtime photographer friends of mine were complaining on Facebook uh, that they think nobody wants to learn. Everyone wants to just give their digital files. And I've been in my head while I'm showering thinking, but what about 10,000 people at PPA and all the people at WPPI and my
Yes.
250 guests all talking about success in business? And it's not just the old timers, you know. So, uh, yeah, I have to get them out of my head, but it it's all still vital. It's all doable, and the principles are not new, but new
Yep.
to, those that haven't heard it. So,
Yeah.
um, so let's talk about like somebody that's in a circle where they're doing okay, but you want to suggest to them they change their circle. So, can you come up with kind of a scenario
Yeah.
about the circle they might be in and then what they do?
Yeah, I'll even think about one for photographers that's really common,
Hmm.
that I could probably a lot of people can relate to just on this podcast is so let's say you're doing your business. Let's say you've been in business for a couple years, um, and you unfortunately you're probably doing a lot of everything. You're doing all different types of photography. It might be lifestyle, baby, boudoir. You might be doing a wedding here and there, family portrait. I mean, you might be doing all types of stuff, which I'll tell you, you need to niche down a little bit so people know what to go to you for. So
Right.
that's your first problem. But a lot of times in that space, you only are thinking about the next job. You're only able to charge just so much. And so in your current circle, you might have good people around and supporters of what you do, but everybody kind of has this limiting belief or limiting thought that is
Hmm.
around you. And that just starts to seep into your psyche as an individual. So you might have good people around you, but you're like, man, you're just constantly keep thinking like, there's got to be more, right? There's got to be some another level of this. Like, how do
Right.
I really grow this and stop hunting and stop chasing again and again? There's got to be a better path to this, and that's the belief of changing your circle. So if you get around individuals that are maybe a couple levels above you, maybe they've been doing it for 7 years, 10 years, and then they figured out some things that you haven't quite figured out yet. That's the joy about changing your circle and getting into those spaces because they're thinking differently. They're
Hmm.
they're approaching things differently. Even if situations come to them, they're tackling those differently. And you start to feed off of that and learn from that. And even better yet, you probably get opportunities of like, hey, instead of doing a wedding for 500 bucks, you all of a sudden are getting a wedding that is $4,000 and they can bring you in as a co-shooter or like there's you start to get some of those opportunities like wow I could team up with people and do this. I could
Hmm.
like you start to really ideate and think about other ways of how to approach things. That's the power of changing your circle, but it first starts with you. Like you have to make that decision and you got to have enough self-awareness to understand what's in front of you. Um, Most people are, like I said, are going through those motions and they just don't realize. But you got to stop and think a little bit of who's around you. And I'm not saying to leave those people behind either. So that's one uh, almost like counter argument sometimes that I get is like, do you just leave these people or do you change your circle and like just say, hey, forget you? I'm like, no, you don't. If they're supporting you in a positive way, you don't leave them behind, leave them
Right.
behind,
Right.
But it's just about expansion, right? It's about those people are serving a certain season of your life, and you are trying to grow even further, and that person can't get you there.
Yeah. So, how would someone who's in, let's say, a medium-sized town, doing okay, change their circle? What can they do? They may be like, oh, I don't want to get with too many photographers and tell them my secrets, and they're just in their at their computer and in their world and not growing. So what do you suggest specifically people do to expand their circle?
Yeah, great question. So first, it's I know people are gonna not like this answer. So I'm already telling you, Lucy, they ain't gonna like it.
Okay.
Um, it's really inner discovery. So first you got to sit with yourself and say, what do I want to achieve? Um, am I willing to pay the price to get there? Like, what price am I willing to pay to actually achieve what I want? Is it really worth it? And that's where you kind of go into your why. Like, why are you doing this in the first place? Um, and then you have to ask yourself, what am I really afraid of?
Mm,
Right? Um, a lot of people have, like you kind of talked about a little bit, but they don't have an abundance mindset. They have a scarcity mindset. So they're like when you say, "Oh, I don't want to tell nobody my secrets," like what are they gonna do with your secrets?
right.
Really? If it's a medium town, small town, yes, people know people. Just like in Milwaukee, like the people call it small Milwaukee. That's what they call it
Ah,
because you know the word travels very fast
right.
around the city. But really, for somebody to take your idea and execute against it, it's like it's just has such a limiting and scarcity mindset. So first, you have to decide for yourself that I want more, right? And you have to say, what are the things that I'm going to learn and be better at? And what are the things that I'm not like that are kind of like my weaknesses? Like, what are the things I'm just not great at, but I want to continue to get better at? So it's really some inner discovery. Here's why. Is because once you start to change your circle, you're going to need to approach those new circles correctly. You can't just go in there with the same mindset, the same stuff, and speaking your same story, same sob story, like, oh man, I just keep getting this, I keep getting this. Like, no one wants to work with you. No one wants to present you opportunities. No one wants to hear about what you have going on if you are diminishing what you're doing. So first is about like just really coming correct to those opportunities and those people. And it's abundance mindset. How can we work together? How can we partner together? I love to ask this question in particular. What exciting things are you working on right now?
Ooh, what
Instead of, yeah,
exciting things, I'm typing this,
no, it's all good.
are you working on right now? So, like, that might be a question if you were in a networking group
You got it.
or a
So
photography association event.
yes. So instead of saying who are you and what do you do, or what's your name and what do you do? That's a terrible question. It's a terrible question because you
Mhm.
really don't care. You really don't care, and you're not going to get any value out of it. But what value you're going to get is, hey, what's something exciting you're working on? Then people
Mhm.
get, oh man, I'm working on blah blah blah. Like they get pumped, right? And they get to talk about themselves, and you get a window into what is a priority for them right now. And then when you get that answer, you can say, okay, what are some things that I'm doing that can help support that? What are some things that I'm doing that could add value to what's exciting for them right now? Now the conversation gets a little quicker, right? Instead of just going back and forth of normal networking stuff. Um, and then you become interesting to the person,
Hmm.
especially if your response is, hey, let me share some interesting things that I'm working on or what my vision is. Where am I going? And you start to share that and you start to have more of an abundance mindset. That's where that's especially in a, like you said, in a medium-sized city or town, this becomes way easier to do, really the smaller the market,
Yeah.
because people know people. And as long as like one good circle change in a small town your whole life could change. Like
Right.
seriously.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
instead of you dealing with the same type of people, doing the same stuff, one circle change over here with somebody that's maybe doing a little bit more or that you can partner or collaborate with, all of a sudden opportunities are coming to you left and right because it's just the way on how networking works.
Right.
So
And
yeah,
I
that's some of the best advice I could give because it
love that.
starts with you and then as you're meeting people, you want to have a collaborative mindset.
Got it. Um, so when I started in weddings 40-ish years ago, I hired a cake baker who was new in the business for my wedding. And then we had a nice connection, and she referred me to one of her brides who loved what I did. And we doubled our businesses from our connection because we only referred each other. And we were up and coming, and we both were, for our experience, we were offering a great product, and we were both super nice and friendly.
Yeah.
And then I learned the power of having a circle of vendors so that I could refer even other photographers. And
Yes.
I hardly had to do any other marketing um, because I
Yeah.
referred them back. So I want to give just a little summary of that. So um, you want to have a positive mindset, not a scarcity mindset. You want to get clear on your why. And I think that raises our energy, our vibration, our magnetism. It's all about energy. Um,
Yes.
this, you didn't say that, but I know it's in there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
There's someone that I met once that she was trying to get business, and she did all the things everybody suggested, but she was so negative. And we were Facebook friends. I would see things she posts, and I'm like, yeah, her vibration is so heavy that and I couldn't fix her. I try to fix people. It doesn't usually work. Anyhow, okay, so you need to be clear, you need to have a positive energy, positive attitude. And then when you're in a situation where you meet people, a great thing to ask is, what exciting things are you working on right now? And what
Yes.
that does is they open up, and I've found people love to talk about themselves.
Oh yeah.
And once I was at a imaging expo at a table in the trade show having, the yucky lunch that they have, burgers and whatever. There were about a dozen around the table, and the woman that asked me about me, where I came from, where I was born, I remembered her out of everyone else that we talked about all the things you would normally. So super powerful. And I love that you said, then you become interesting when you're
Yes.
interested in them. Um,
Yes.
a phrase that I don't know where I got this, but it's, instead of what do you do, I'll say, how do you spend most of your time?
Oh, I like that. I heard that
And
one before.
and
Yep.
at first, and some people say working. So then I can say, well, tell me about what you do in your job.
Yeah.
And I get the most interesting conversations from that. But I'm going to add, what exciting things are you working on right now? That's powerful. All right.
Yeah.
So you've got this circle, and I'm sure you agree, the circles of, joining photography associations, joining uh, mastermind groups, finding ways to be around people who have that positive mindset and are having successes as well, right?
Yeah.
So, what else do we need to know at this point?
Yeah. So it's funny. So people say, okay, well, where do I go to change the circles? I find vendors, I mean, you gave the story about vendors, and I think that's super powerful because you build those kind of referral relationships and they can be so lucrative. Especially if you keep doing great business with somebody. What I have found though that is a little different is try to expand your mind a little bit of connecting with people outside your industry. Uh, this stuff is so, especially with photography and anything creative, like a lot of people need what you provide. And it's not necessarily you're going to get all the same kind of knowledge through just the circles through photography.
Hmm.
Um, that's how I got really into because I started like over in like the entertainment side, a lot of weddings and stuff, and then I switched to corporate because um, well, they got bigger dollars.
Yeah.
I mean,
They have
just
actual
keeping it
budget.
real. They got some money to spend.
That's right.
Um, So I was like, man, I got to get over this corporate stuff. So started just networking with really what I call it's more of a slang term, but just movers and shakers.
Right.
So there's somebody in your city, especially if we go back to the small medium town, there's some people in your city that just know everybody. Just
Right.
absolutely know everybody. Either they work for the radio station or they're maybe big community leaders or like whoever those people are, you got to get connected with them, right? It's
Hmm.
not even just about, don't think so one plus one equals two. And I think that's the problem with most, especially small businesses. They just want the sale right then and there, right? I want to meet somebody and sell them and then like, let's do this. I like the approach of like, we got to think a little wider. If we get connected with some people that are active in our city that already have influence,
Hmm.
and we're connected with them and then we can give value to that person, they're going to call you, right, for things. They're going to invite you to things. Next thing you know, you're the person standing next to the person that everybody knows.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden John, if that, let's say that's John, John is introducing you to all types of people just by being next to him, right?
Hmm.
That's how you supercharge your circle because it's about affiliation and influence. If you're not connected to these people, um, it's harder to network, right? You have to really pitch and sell yourself and like be interesting. But like if I stand next to somebody that's already super interesting and everybody knows that person, and they vouch for me and say, "Hey, Jamar, you gotta talk to Jamar, man. Like he's got some cool stuff going on." And yeah, I just met him 2 weeks ago, but he's doing he's doing cool stuff. That immediate, just that goes back to the referral thing. That is like a soft referral,
Right.
and that speaks magnitudes in rooms. So s- really start to go outside your comfort zone. Um, and network with people a little bit outside your space, but the people that are active, the people that are actually doing things, and you'll start to see results. And then the other thing too, just because you said like, what else do I do? Is it's also about how you're positioning yourself. So I just want to touch on that really quick, just to make sure that this is actionable. That you got to be able to position yourself correctly when an opportunity is presented to you. So how you introduce yourself matters. And so I like to go back into the totals of people's life. So, like, how many, like, this is a cool one for photographers. How many photos have you captured total in your entire career? Right? That number might be staggering.
Yes. Could be millions
It could be
easily.
millions.
Easily.
Lose, how many for you? How many do you think? Millions?
Plenty. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And especially, so if you introduce yourself and say that I captured millions of photos, let's say it's 5 million photos,
Hmm.
right? That sounds like somebody, you don't even have to say how long you've been doing it for. It's like, holy my goodness,
I love
that
that.
you're somebody that really does this. Or if you've been featured on other people's podcasts, how many podcasts have you been featured on? How many clients have you worked with total? What's the top three best clients that you've ever worked with, right?
Right.
You start mentioning these things in your, and then also it's not just business, but it's also personal. So you start to say, what are your personal achievements? What are some hobbies or interests that you've been able to have some wins on throughout your life? And you start to total those things up. Then you start to become, even going back to interesting, you start to become way more interesting in conversation. and you're presenting yourself correctly for the opportunities to be a magnet, right? So
So,
go ahead.
question. So, am I asking a person that I meet, what are your personal achievements? Or I'm thinking about my personal achievements and I'm doing a humble brag.
Yeah, you're thinking about your own personal
I am.
achievements, and you're and the I got a good friend of mine named Precious Williams. I don't know if you know who she is.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
awesome. Yeah, so Precious, she's the killer pitch master. Okay, so
Mhm.
but her whole thing is like if you pitch yourself correctly to the right people in the right rooms, amazing things happen. And
Mm,
so that is something that we both believe very similar, where if you just get really good at introducing yourself and stop giving people a sob story or telling people back when you were born and
mhm.
just just all this stuff where it's like, oh God, please get to the point.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
boring. This is
Boring.
snooze fest.
Right, right. I love the um I love a couple of ways that I learn, which is either to have a really intriguing first thing that you say, or
Mm,
someone has to say, "What is that?" So you could
yes.
say, "I've photographed over 5 million images in the last, in the course of my life," or um, "I I help people travel back in time,"
Yeah.
or and then people say, "Well, what do you do?" And then say, "I'm a portrait photographer. I specialize in art for your home." The
Yeah.
other fun thing is you say what might be expected, but then you say, "But what I really do." So for me, I might say, "I'm a portrait photographer specializing in kids and creating art for your homes. But what I really do is
Mm,
create the comfort when your kids are off to college and having families of their own, where you feel like you can look at these portraits and still smell that baby smell and still hold their hand and walk them to school." So,
hmm.
so I love, what you added to that. That
Yeah. And that's just so it's just so helpful because it's making you more desirable to learn more. Like
right.
so and I've learned this because we've done a lot of marketing for a lot of companies with Forever Media, and now we primarily just help entrepreneurs grow and scale. But there's many years where I just worked with just the natural progression through I think through photography, videography. Sometimes it's like I give you all these assets, but you don't know how to use them. That's basically what happened to me. Like I started working corporate and then they would give them all these assets and then they post it once or they use it once. And I'm like, oh God, just you guys need to know how to use this
Ah,
stuff.
yeah.
So I was like, come on.
Yeah.
So that's how we kind of got into the marketing side. But the one thing that marketing is supposed to do is spark curiosity.
Mm,
So for the listeners, if your conversations are not sparking curiosity, you just wasted your time.
got it.
You've literally wasted your time. So you go to a networking event, you've collected all your business cards and scanned everybody's stuff, and you're like, oh man, I got like 11 leads through there. But no one asked additional questions. No one was curious. I mean, no one was eager to meet you
Mhm.
afterwards. You've wasted your time,
Right. And if
right?
nobody feels better for having met you,
Yes.
I think that uh,
That's another great one.
everything that you're saying, it just that feels like something natural that you might say instead of just me, that it's how we make people feel
Yes.
that is the power in our marketing. I love you saying that marketing's supposed to spark curiosity because with websites, I find that a lot of people think it needs to be full of information.
Yeah.
And when I'm working with people as a coach, I help them spark curiosity so they want to contact us, not give them what they think they're hungry for and they're satisfied and then they go on their merry way, but kind of give
Right.
them a little, oh my gosh, I've got to talk to this person. Do you have thoughts on
Yes.
that?
Yes. So I mean, it I think so one person told me I had a business coach a while ago, many years ago, but they said like you want to basically tell them what you do and why you do it, but never how you do it,
Mm,
right? You never want to give somebody the ingredients to the sauce.
right, right. I think about it
So
like dating. You know, the
yeah.
person has to look good, smell good, or for me, I'm allergic to perfume, so not
Okay.
smell at all, except for maybe a good manly smell
Yeah.
that works. And that little bit of intrigue and all the things you're talking about, asking me about me, you know, showing an interest, and then to get a little intrigued. So I'm open to the next step. But if they're like,
Yes.
here's this, and now can I kiss you? It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So,
People are trying to go straight to the bedroom, like
right,
quickly. And
right,
I'm like, how? Like, what is, where does that work?
right. I I used to work in the airport, Jamar, and there was a guy fairly attractive, not
Uh-huh.
the most, who was a ticket, like checked people in at the counter and took their bags. Every beautiful woman, he would say he had a break coming up. Would they like to go to his car and have sex? About every month or so, he got somebody saying yes.
My God. Now that's just the law of numbers.
Yes, yes. But I
Just,
bet he could up his ratio if he had been like, oh my gosh, that is such a pretty dress. Where are you going? Oh, I love Milwaukee. Uh,
yep.
yeah, are you so blah blah blah. Hey, if you're around to have a break, if you want to go get coffee he would have probably had one a week.
Oh yeah, for sure. His numbers would have been up.
And it was a small community in San Diego at the time, so everyone knew that, and we just laugh about it. But it worked for him for what he wanted. He was dating
Yeah, it worked for him. Every once in a while, I get somebody to
every
say yes.
now.
And that's, what's so funny is that that's most businesses, right?
Right.
You're constantly just networking and trying to talk to people, sell your services first, not providing any value, not providing any curiosity. You're not asking any questions. You want it to be all about you. And yeah, you'll get a couple sales every once in a while. I mean,
Hmm.
somebody will say yes, and or maybe it's an urgent thing and like I got a wedding in 2 weeks. Do you want to, like I got to find somebody. So you'll get a yes, but you could definitely get a lot more yeses if you just work on these things. And so it goes back to the preparation for this stuff is just so important because like this is stuff that's not taught in schools. You go out into the workforce, people don't teach you how to network or how to introduce yourself, but it's the most valuable thing, um, or one of the most valuable things that you will do in your lifetime because you're always going to be introducing yourself.
Right.
And so if people can work on this, and even then from you take that from how you introduce yourself to your website, to your social media, to you just stamp this stuff across everything that you're doing, this stuff becomes way easier,
Right.
way easier to do to get the outcomes that you want in your life.
Absolutely. Even like I sit on my porch and either I'm working on the computer earlier in the day or I'm reading a book late in the day, and people walk by with their dogs and babies. And my greatest joy is getting to see those babies and pet those dogs. But somehow I make it so that people can tell that I'm nice, I'm trustworthy. Dogs always know, uh,
Yeah,
just from your vibe.
yeah,
But I have these dogs that will pull their owners onto my porch because they from when they've been with me before. So somehow in this, I can probably analyze how I use all your principles to get to pet some doggies and
good. You
Oh,
could.
yeah.
It's powerful. I mean,
Yeah.
just meeting people and making those relationships, that's who knows where it's gonna take. You could pet a lot of dogs.
Yes. And if I was still working uh, regularly, marketing regularly, I've got now, I didn't have this as I was growing my business. The neighborhood was not what it is now. Now it's
Mm.
full of dogs and kids, and I wouldn't have to go anywhere to get work. I it would be so easy. And my neighborhood's expensive now. Uh,
Yeah,
so if people live in my neighborhood, they got to have some kind of coin in their pocket.
of course.
So we're almost out of time. Um, you mentioned the thought that 50% mindset and 50% action is what is important. Um, I know that's a whole other topic we could do another day, but can you touch on that? What you mean by that? I think we've probably
Yeah.
said it, but not in the same specific way.
Yeah. So the reason why I split it 50-50 is most people are either one or the other. So you got the over preparers or the perfectionists, I like to call them, and they don't do no action. They're preparing for their whole life of stuff that they're gonna do, stuff that they're this is another slang, but they're fixing to do. Like it's just
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna fix to do this. Like you're always there's something in the horizon, but they're
Yes.
never getting around to doing nothing. And then you have people that are taking a ton of action, right? That you hear from people, and they're getting some results, but they're not changing here, right? They're not learning differently. They're
Mm.
not expanding differently. They're not, there is no preparation. They're just taking, Jamar, I've gone to, I mean, I've literally had some people tell me, like, I go networking every day. I'm out here like
Hmm.
it's 3, 4 hours a day. I'm constantly pushing myself. I have been stuck under six figures for 5, 6 years, and I don't know why. Why? And it came down to you're doing the actions. You're just presenting yourself terribly. Your
Right.
your mindset is you just think like go 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 go. I'm going to take anything anything anything. There's no strategy, right? There's no strategy of what you're doing. You're just blasted at the hip.
Hmm.
So that's why there's a 50-50 because you need both. You
Right.
need both to be successful. Yes, you can have some success with both, more action than not, but you need both. Like strategy is so important and I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but how you set up for something is sometimes the difference maker,
Right. Right.
right? So that's where that came from. In that book, everything in my book is 50% mindset, 50% action. So there's literally action steps, there's takeaways,
Love it.
so people can apply it right now into their life. So that's why I tell people it's impossible for you to read that book, do every single action in that book, and not change your life. It's
Absolutely.
physically impossible.
And what's the name of the book again?
Change your circle, change your life.
I love that. So one of my spiritual teachers, who's I don't know, he's been gone for at least 50 years, Ernest Holmes, but his big phrase was change your thinking, change your life.
Yeah.
The whole movement about positive thinking. And so I love your twist on it because you have to change your thinking to decide to change your circle. And
Yes.
part of that action, part of that mindset.
Yes.
So I love that. Well, gosh, I could talk with you all day long, and hopefully someday we'll be in the same world. And
Oh, for sure.
oh,
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, how did these things get you on stage as a rapper with some of the top, most well-known
Oh,
people
I
in the
mean,
world?
oh my God, I'm so glad you asked that. So the whole concept of the change your circle, change your life, it came from because I wrote the book about 5 years ago now, well, 4 or 5 years ago, and it came from I was sitting one time in I had an office, I had a bunch of employees, we had some like business was just moving, And I was like, how did I get here?
Mm,
Like, it just hit me. I was like, how in the world did I get here? And then I started to go back. Like, how did I get on stages, right? How was I booking 100 shows plus a year,
right.
right? Traveling all over the place, opening up for these artists, headlining my own events. And I boil it down to the ability to change my circle. Like that is
Mm,
the nucleus of it. And so it was the ability to meet people, present yourself correctly, and then add value to others. So other opportunities. So what happened is it just becomes a domino effect. It's just like, okay, I want to be a hip hop artist and perform on stages. Okay, what do I need? Who do I need to meet? who who is actively doing that already? So like back to your vendor referral stuff. Okay, let me connect with other artists. Let me connect with tour managers. Let me connect with bar owners, club owners, venue owners, or promoters. Let me connect like anybody that's in those spaces. Let me connect, right? And you add value. DJs. Oh, DJs already spinning there. They're residents there already. I need to get connected, right?
mhm,
Like you just start to see who do you need to be connected to. You figure out how to get in their circle, add value, support what they're doing, and then eventually they're gonna be like, "Yo, I'm gonna give you a shot." I'm
mhm,
standing next to the DJ. Next thing you know, he hands me the mic, like, "Yo, let's play one of your records, like right
mhm.
now. Let's do it right now." Oh, all right,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I'm ready. Right here's the flash drive. And back then it was flash drives, everybody. So
Yeah.
flash drives, you give them the flash drive here, load it up. All right, we doing a song, right? And that's how it slowly gets started. So it was always the people changing the
Mhm.
circle, but you need to be prepared for those opportunities. And also just a lot of people focus so much on the hard skills, but soft skills is what's really going to change your life. The hard skills matter when you need to deliver. Like if you're a photographer and you don't know framing, exposure, you go indoor, outdoor, and you don't know how to manipulate those two, then your stuff's grainy.
Yeah. Out of
It ain't looking
focus.
right. The framing is off. You don't know the rule of thirds. Like you don't know that type of stuff. It's gonna hurt you when you need to deliver. But what's gonna get you in the door is not your technical skills. That stuff is not going to get you in the door. It's the soft skills. It's
Love it.
relationship building, negotiation, adding value to people, understanding human psychology and people. Like that's what's going to move the needle.
I love it. I love it. So I usually ask for someone's parting thoughts, but you already did such a great summary that you, yeah, we don't need more on that. Although I think I'd always need more from Jamar Jones. But you have a gift for us. What is that, and how do we get to it?
Yes. So we have developed something called the Wiki Famous audit, and so I talked about it earlier in this interview, but it really is the totals of people's life. And this is a quick like form that you can literally go through. We already preset the questions up there for you. So all you got to do is just fill out the information. Then you can get really an idea of the totals of your life to add to your bio and how to really present yourself correctly.
Hmm.
And so this is our free gift because we usually work one-on-one with clients and also our group clients as well, and they get access to this. But I wanted to give it to your community, your audience. And so there's a link that you'll be able to go to the Wiki Famous audit, put your email in there, and then you can go ahead and be wowed, really,
I love it.
at
So
the
is
stuff
that
you've been able to achieve.
so the address is in the show notes, but it's too complicated to uh, read it off now. Uh, If they're
Yes.
looking at show notes, can they go to for Eva, basically media.com
Oh, yeah, for
and
sure.
find the wiki audit there?
Yes.
Great, great,
Yes.
great.
You'll be able to do it. Yeah. Forevermedia.com. That's FOUREVA media.com. And you'll be able to find it there
Love
for
it.
sure.
Oh gosh, Jamar, thank you so much for this fabulous conversation and just for being that positive mindset, add value human.
Thank you.
to me and my listeners and all the things. So everybody stay tuned after I say a little goodbye to Jamar for my little quickie wrap up. Anyway, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty, that was such a great conversation, and I loved meeting Jamar and somebody that has been a photographer and expanded out. I think we forgot to mention that his podcast is called the Foureva Podcast, so easy to find that. And the core, we talked about changing our circle and how that will change our life. And some of the steps are, first of all, becoming self-aware. Self-aware sounds like um, evaluating our current circle, figuring out our yes, um, kind of elevating ourselves, getting in that positive mode, being clear, and then finding circles where people are a little bit ahead, where we can learn from, um, places that we haven't normally associated with. Um, he suggested niching down um, and working on not having these limiting beliefs. Let's see. And he said, what do I want to do and can I pay the price? What am I afraid of? What is my scarcity mindset and how can I decide I want more? And then approaching these new circles with that positivity makes us a magnet. And I love his question when he's meeting people, what exciting things are you working on right now? Maybe I put that into my show from now on as a wrap-up question. Let's see. He said expanding outside of our industry and finding people that seem to know everybody and love to connect. There are connectors out there. We talked about affiliation and influence, and that is the core of his message about changing our circles. Um, Looking at how we're positioned, being positioned correctly so that when the opportunity shows up, we're ready for it. Figure out interesting ways to introduce yourself that leads people to want to know more. He said marketing's supposed to spark curiosity. And then we talked about the 50% mindset, 50% action. If you're more of a doer, we want to do some shift where we do the inner work and also the dreaming and planning. If we're a planner and we never get out the door and do anything, work on that. Uh, so, yeah, I just love this conversation. I can't remember who said that Jamar was his favorite speaker at the PPA Imaging Expo this year, but I'm really grateful and I know you've gotten a lot of value out of this. I don't know how you could not. So until next time, see ya.